Hello and welcome back to the Breakfast Show. Holidays are usually a time to travel, and tourism is a very important sector over here in Egypt. With us now is Mr. Bastien Blanc, tourism expert and general manager of this hotel. Thank you very much first for hosting us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, tell us, how are you spending your holiday here in Cairo? And this is the first Eid that you spend here in the country.
First, allow me to wish to both of you and all your viewers.
Thank you very much.
Kore sana wintu tayyibin.
Very good.
Eid Said. I'm working on my Egyptian. It's far from being perfect, I've got to admit. So actually, I'm not here for leisure, but I'm for work. I moved to Cairo. It's starting to travel around.
Okay. Well, how are you finding the Eid? It's still early in the morning, but how do you think people have prepared for it?
Very well prepared. On this very special day, everybody's excited, looking forward to celebrate with the family and friends. So it's really a nice day to be in Cairo.
Are many people coming into the hotel for breakfast and Eid?
Actually, yes, they are still coming for breakfast, I can tell you. So I don't know if it's normal or not, but I can tell you that this morning the breakfast room was full of people enjoying delicious breakfast.
So which places? You've only been here a couple of weeks. Which places have you visited in Egypt, and what areas are you hoping to look at?
So I've already been to Sharm el-Sheikh. I passed by Hurghada very briefly last year, and very soon I hope to go to Siwa. That seems very exciting to me because it's an oasis, from what I understood, that I really wish to discover. And also because all the buildings that have been done using local materials, and therefore it seemed kind of ecological, and that's an area that I'm kind of interested as well about.
So, as an expert, tourism expert, how far do you think the Egyptian tourism is doing as related to the financial problem all over the world?
Well, Egypt is a leading Arab country, very influential in the area, and not only from the let's say political area, but also tourism area. It's at the center of everything and everywhere in the area. You cannot do business in Middle East without passing by Egypt. Egypt had a great chance not to be too dependent from the American market, and therefore not to be affected too much by the crisis. So definitely business in Cairo is still doing very well. New hotels are opening, not every single day, but very often. I visited one of the new hotels a few days ago. So definitely it's a very dynamic market, and I'm sure it's going to carry on like that because this country has got a huge tourism potential. You only have 12 million tourists per year, which is very similar to Tunisia and Morocco, when you have far more sites that can be visited. I know as well that more airlines are developing direct flights to Cairo. Therefore, it should help not only the business to develop, but also the tourism.
How's the hotel doing this time of year? The occupancy rates, turnover, how things?
During Ramadan time, it's not the best time for the hotels, I've got to admit. Throughout the city, the occupancies are a bit lower during the Ramadan. But as from tomorrow, already all the occupancies are booming back to 75, 80%. So the business is coming back very fast after Ramadan.
Are they tourists or people from Egypt?
It depends which location we are talking about. For Cairo, we are talking mostly business. There is some tourism coming to Cairo, but if we compare it to Sharm el-Sheikh or Hurghada, business is the priority for Cairo, and it's really the core business. When we're talking about Hurghada or Sharm el-Sheikh, you know very well that some of the countries, for instance, like Russia, where I used to work in the past, I've got the possibility to come without visa, and therefore it's helping the tourism in this area to really boom and develop.
I think this time of the year, the holidays, a lot of people travel internally to Sharm el-Sheikh or to Hurghada, as you said.
Yes. Or actually for the long weekend to the North Coast. So right now, this weekend, the North Coast, all the hotels are full. All these brand new hotels, which are beautiful actually, are really full for the 4 days.
Of year really do you think to visit Egypt? When's it most booming, the whole tourism industry and your rates at the hotel?
I really think it depends where you're coming from, because sometimes when we're talking about European clientele, the summer can be very, very warm. Therefore, it can be not that nice to visit some of the places, like the pyramid, for instance, in Gezirah. To visit them when it's very hot, it can be difficult. So personally, for the tourist, as a tourist, I would prefer to visit toward November, December, because then the climate is fantastic compared to Europe, and you can still visit these sites without the detriment of the very hot weather. But during the summer, if you just want to go swimming and sun tanning, Sharm el-Sheikh, Hurghada are perfect places.
How far did you know about Egypt before you came here as a Frenchman? Do you have
Well,
enough information about it?
You never have enough information, you know. I left France over 15 years ago and I've been traveling all over the world. Why? Because I like discovering new cultures and new countries. I've been thinking about Egypt for many years because a country like Egypt with over 5,000 years of history is definitely something that interests me. Plus the local culture, you know, every time I look around, what really fascinates me is the smile. You're a very good example, both of you, but the smiles of all the Egyptians that I'm meeting, people are fantastic, really.
Have you been to any other Arab countries?
I've been to United Arab Emirates already, and that's the only other country I've done in the area so far.
And what about other countries that you've visited on your travels?
I've used to live in different countries. So I lived in North America, in Western Europe, Eastern Europe, and Russia, as I mentioned. And really, the smile here is really the key difference because it's permanent, it comes from the heart, and it's very welcoming.
What about business-wise between the Emirates and Egypt when it comes to tourism? How is it different?
Well, the clientele has got specific requirements, but for this as well, I think it's very dynamic for the market because, for instance, you have some services which didn't exist in Cairo or were very limited a few years ago, like butler service, which now are part of the standards within all the international chains for the suites, for instance. So having this kind of very demanding clientele is helping all the hotels to keep on looking for better service and therefore developing new services to make sure the clientele is satisfied and really want to return.
You've been here in Egypt during the time of Eid.
Yes.
You know, we've been talking about kahk. Did you
Yes,
try
don't talk
all
to me
these
about the
deli-
food, please, it's too early.
Why not?
Because if I start eating at this time, I will never end the day.
Have you tried the cake? Have you?
Not yet.
Not
I've been
yet.
holding for after the show.
Okay, so we definitely need to do that. Thank you very much for joining us on the morning show. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Well, also let's talk a little bit more about the Nile. Have you connected with the Nile? It's a very
Yes.
prominent.
You know, being based in a hotel in El Gezirah is very difficult not to enjoy the Nile. You know, I'm surrounded by the Nile every single day. Therefore, definitely I'm enjoying every time seeing all the beautiful boats passing by. And also I will make sure that before, if one day, because one day will happen, I will have to leave Egypt, I will make sure I drink from the Nile to make sure I return.
Great.
Is the River Nile different from any other river?
Well, definitely it's very alive, as you can see with all the boats passing by during the show. Very often in cities the rivers are not that alive because the side of the river are very high, so you don't really enjoy the traffic on the river. But in Cairo, the Nile is really part of the life of the city.
We definitely do hope you enjoy your stay here in Cairo. And do you have any plans on going anywhere for the Eid, or are you just staying
For the
here?
Eid, I will stay here. I still have a bit of work to do, and for sure afterwards, my first destination will be Siwa.
Great, and we hope you enjoy that. Mr. Bastien Blanc, tourism expert and general manager at the luxury hotel here in Cairo. Thank you very much for joining us on the Breakfast Show.
Thank you for having me.
What's up next, Rod?